Hello, my beautiful midlife queens. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Queen Podcast. I'm your host, Lorena Vassolo, the Midlife Reinvention Queen. I'm so happy you're here. This is midlife, unfiltered, unhinged, unapologetic. This is the space where we unhook from all the BS society tells women about midlife, that it's all downhill, that we're invisible, that we are irrelevant, that we're past our prime. No, queen. Midlife is our crown era. Midlife is our prime. Midlife is our time to reimagine, reinvent, redesign, and rise. Midlife is our time to finally live life on our own terms. Let's go. And for our first episode together, I want to start by sharing my story and tell you, why are we here? Why did I create this podcast? And so I feel that starting with my story is how I should, because like many of you, I didn't glide into midlife gracefully. I crashed into it. And out of that crash, I discovered my power. I reclaimed myself and I discovered my power again. Let me take you back to when I was 38. I'm 52 right now. And I'm going to take you back to when I'm 38 years old and I became a mom to my beautiful daughter, Malena Lola. And this was a life-changing moment for me because my daughter wasn't born under normal circumstances in a normal, regular birth. My daughter was born at only 25 weeks gestation through an emergency C-section, just 25 weeks. So I was only 5.5, just barely 5 months pregnant. And she only weighed 1.57 pounds. She was so tiny that she was a micro preemie, not just a preemie. And I always called her my tiny but mighty miracle girl because she's a miracle. She's a warrior. And when she was born, I'll never forget this moment because you can imagine as a new, all you want to do is hold your baby. But I was numb from the neck down from the epidural for the emergency C-section. So I didn't get to see my baby girl right away. And they had to, take her in and put oxygen and tubes and hook her up to a lot of equipment to make sure she was breathing, that she was okay, and have her all set up in her isolate in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. And so after about an hour, my epidural started to wear out and they were able to roll me into a wheelchair where I could sit up and they could wheel me in to finally see my baby girl. And I'll never forget this moment of just being wheeled into the NICU. And, first you have to wash your hands really well and put on this gown because you don't want to bring any germs into this very fragile area where all these babies are fighting for their lives. And I just wanted to see my baby girl. And as they wheel you in, you don't know what to expect because this is not something that I ever thought I was going to live. I had no idea what a NICU was at this point. And now I was not only going in there, but my baby girl was there. And, it's a world that's full of, babies fighting for their lives, hooked up to machines and nurses and doctors and beepings and monitors. And you each have your pods. But as you're going in, it's very intense. And I remember all I wanted to do was see my baby girl. And finally, they wheel me to her and I see her just tiny. And she was laying there hooked up to a million machines and this and that, and from her nose and from her chest and IVs and all of these things. And in that moment, nothing mattered. I'll never forget it. And it will forever bring me to tears because she was just this perfect, tiny, mighty miracle girl. And she was my perfect baby girl. And that moment transformed me forever. That moment expanded me and just completely changed me. I knew in that moment that I was going to do whatever I needed to do to help my baby girl live, to help her feel loved, to give her strength and hope through it all. And even though I had no idea if she was going to make it. And the doctors kept telling me, her chances are very low. I just made the decision to have unwavering faith and unconditional, infinite love and hope at every moment. And it wasn't easy. I will tell you the hardest thing ever was not being able to hold my baby girl right away. I had to wait quite a few days till I could hold her. And still, when I held her for the first time, she was hooked up to a million machines, and I had to be very still so that her oxygen tube didn't dislodge. So a lot of things that weren't the way I expected, but that's life, right? Life is going to life, and life doesn't give us what we want. It gives us what we need. And I didn't know that that was exactly what I needed. That was the greatest gift. And my daughter's birth was also my rebirth. It allowed me to become who I am today. And it triggered in me such a desire to be better, to be the best that I could be, to be the best mother, the best woman, the best example. And for the first year of her life, I lived in the NICU with her. She had to stay in the NICU for almost that first whole year of her life. And through that first year of her life that she was in the NICU, she survived multiple surgeries, pneumonias. And it was rough, but it was also incredibly inspiring to watch her fight for her life and survive and live. And so I knew that if my tiny but mighty miracle girl could fight for her life like that, so could I. And I decided to always show up feeling hopeful and being a source of hope and love and strength and faith, and just be there for her no matter what. And when she came home and she was discharged from the hospital, she came with a tracheostomy. She had to have a tracheostomy at 5 months, and she had to have that tracheostomy in place for almost 4 years. And what that meant when she came home was that she came home and I had to learn and prepare myself to not just be her mom, but be her primary complex medical needs caregiver. So I had to learn how to clean her tracheostomy, how to put it in, how to, in case it came out by emergency, put it back in, because she depended on it to breathe. And she was hooked up to oxygen and a couple of monitors and machines, and she had a lot of specific complex medical needs. And I learned it all, and it was an incredible journey that stretched me and taught me so many lessons that I needed to learn. And, when I look back, every day was a test of patience, of love, of endurance, of resilience, of courage, of faith. And that experience changed me forever. And her birth showed me that anything is possible. It gave me the courage that I didn't know I had. And it really sparked the beginning of the midlife queen that I am today. And it gave me the courage to make the choices and the changes that I needed to make in my life and in myself, because I made the commitment and the decision to be the best mother, be the best woman, and give her a better life and a better example of life. And so at 42, I made the decision to leave an 18-year toxic marriage, and I became a single mom to my miracle girl. And I was broke. I was pretty much bankrupt, and we moved into my sister's basement, and my sister and her family took us in, and my family helped and were very supportive and friends, and I'm very, very grateful for it all. And, at that moment when I became a single mom, completely broke in my sister's basement, I remember asking myself the most terrifying question, right? Okay, what now? And I made a decision to look at this not as a failure, but as a powerful, powerful moment of possibility. And this breakdown moment of everything in my life felt like a breakdown was necessary for me to have this breakthrough and go and transform my life. And this became a what now? And that question propelled me into transformation. That question led me to reimagine what I believed was possible for myself at this stage of my life. And it led me to not going back into human resources, which was a job I didn't love. And it was pretty soul-sucking corporate work. And it led me to become a certified yoga teacher, which is something that I had always desired to do. It led me to become a meditation guide. It led me to become a Reiki master. And then it led me to become a somatic life coach for women, because working with somatic therapy practices changed my life, helped heal my trauma, ease my trauma. And it took my healing and personal growth to a whole other level. And so I decided that I wanted to help other women. That was an important mission for me and my soul's calling. And I started guiding other women, teaching classes, workshops, guiding retreats, and guiding women through their own personal transformations. And what happened during that time was so powerful, because I didn't just leave behind a marriage, right? I left behind my old outdated version, my old self who had been living in survival mode, who had been living in people-pleasing mode, in autopilot, in chaos and survival mode, in self-sabotage mode, in self-sacrificing mode. And it didn't know her own worth. And I had been settling for that default mode, and that no longer served me. I had outgrown that identity through a lot of inner work and somatic work. I had outgrown that identity, and I was able to upgrade myself and reinvent myself and redesign my life and give my daughter a better example and a better life. And that meant everything for me. And by 43, I was coaching women through their own breakthroughs, and I was completely focused and devoted to my daughter and to providing for us a much better life. And I wasn't looking, but at 45, the universe brought me the love of my life. And like I said before, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need. I've always been a romantic. I've always been open to love and to finding that soulmate. But it wasn't until 45 that he appeared, and I met the love of my life, and we've been together ever since. And at 46, we made the decision to leave Canada, where we were living, and leave behind the freezing winters that we hated. And they were really hard for my daughter's preemie lungs. And she struggled a lot, had to be indoors a lot, had to be hospitalized. They really affected her. And we had always dreamed of living by the ocean. So we left Canada and moved to sunny, beautiful Mexico. I started building my online coaching business and started coaching women online. And then I built my own coaching online business at 47, 48. And fast forward to now, I'm 52. And so a decade later, just over a decade later, after I had my daughter's 14 now, I'm living my dream life in Mexico with the love of my life. My daughter is happy, healthy, thriving, and I have never felt better. I've never been happier. I've never lived my life in a more joyful and meaningful way that truly honors who I am, that allows me to serve and help other women, that allows me to model that for my daughter, to model for her what a healthy, strong, capable woman who knows her self-worth and who honors herself, who honors her boundaries, who honors her heart, who honors her desires, who honors her values, who honors her joy looks like. That is the most important for me, to leave that legacy and model that for my daughter, and to help other women live their own lives, not by default, but by their own design. And so that's why I always say, my beautiful queens, that's my story. And I know that you can probably see yourself in that story, because we all go through breakthroughs that we think broke us and that we think are failures and complete losses. But they're also gifts with hidden gems and lessons and experiences and growth, and they become your breakthroughs. And it's all about how we choose to reframe them and experience them and go through them. And so I want to tell you, my beautiful queen, now that you know a little bit more about my story and what led me to want to share more about my journey and why I do what I do and my work with women in this podcast, I want to take a moment to ask you to close your eyes and take a deep breath into your heart, into your belly, and breathe in, get present with yourself in this moment, and Really think about a breakdown or a painful chapter in your life. And now ask yourself, what could this be the doorway to? What could this breakdown, this divorce, this career loss, this major life change, this crisis, what could this be the doorway to? What breakthrough is waiting for me on the other side of this? What is this asking me to leave behind? What old, outdated version of me needs to die right now, needs to be let go? I need to let that old version go so I can step into a new version of me that is more aligned with who I am, who I want to be, with my dreams, with my passions, with my desires, with my needs, with my pleasure. And allow yourself to reinvent, reimagine, redefine. Allow yourself to expand what you believe is possible for you. Because when you start to change what you believe is possible for you, when you expand your identity, when you expand your definition of yourself, you give yourself the chance to not only upgrade your biology, but upgrade your life, upgrade your identity in midlife and beyond. And that's how you step out of living in autopilot and default. That's how you step out and break through into your transformation, into your midlife by design. Your breakthroughs are waiting, my beautiful queen. Midlife is not the end. It is a new beginning, and everything that feels like it's falling apart, it might just be falling into place. Take another deep breath in, my beautiful queen, and I want to thank you for joining me on this first episode of the Midlife Reinvention Queen Podcast. My wish for you, my queen, is that you begin to see your breakdowns as the doorways to your most radiant, beautiful breakthroughs, because you're not here to settle. You're not here to play small. You're not here to dim your light. You're not here to keep doing what you've always done, because then you'll just get what you've always gotten. You're here for more. And I know you can feel the pull. You can feel the nudge inside. You can feel those desires that you've ignored for so long bubbling up. They're calling for you. And my wish for you is that you answer the call of your heart, the call of your joy, of your dreams, of your desires, of your pleasure, of your power, of your most beautiful midlife queen era. Because the best is yet to come, my beautiful queen. Sending you so much love. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe, share this episode with a fellow queen, another midlife queen like you, like me, and get ready for next week, where we're going to dive even deeper into how to create firsts in midlife, how to expand yourself, and how to fully step into your upgraded midlife queen era identity. Remember, my queen, your throne is waiting. And like I always say, crown on and rock on, my beautiful queens. Never settle for anything less than your dream midlife. Never settle for anything less than your power, your joy, your dreams, your desires, your pleasure. You deserve it all, my beautiful queen. Sending you all the love. See you next time.